Hi everyone, my name is Giselle Pacto. I live in Pacnan, Mindanao City. I am 20 years old.
So good day. So my name is Jeremy Lasapaway. I am 20-year-old and I'm from Labic, Cebu.
Everyone, my name is Rizal Vioctiza and I am 18-year-old. I am now currently living here at Liloy, Zamboanga del Norte.
And we are going to discuss about sexual self.
This section tackles one of the most crucial aspects of human development, the sexual self. Sexual self concept refers to the totality of oneself as a sexual being, including positive and negative concepts and feeling. According to theorists, sexual self concept described well along three dimensions, which are sexual self-esteem, sexual depression, and sexual preoccupation. For the sexual self-esteem, when you look into your partner's eyes, what do you see? Hopefully, the answer is love, respect, and support. Do you feel that you deserve those feelings? The answer is important because how you feel about yourself or your self-esteem plays a major role in your ability to maintain close relationships and enjoy a fullest sexual relationship. Simply put, self-esteem is the ability to view yourself as being able to cope with the basic challenges of life and the belief that you deserve to be happy. If you don't think that you're worthy of happiness, for instance, you may also think you are unworthy of a full, rich, sensual, and sexual life. Sexual depression is an increase of blood flow triggers arousal through an erection or vaginal lubrication. In a person with depression, the sex-related chemicals are out of balance. As a result, sexual desire is low or missing. Low levels of some of these chemicals can also dull pleasurable. Sexual preoccupation, defined as a sexual behavior that deviates from normative practice in terms of frequency or choice of object and creates domestic, occupational, or legal problems for the individual.
Sexual self. This lesson aims to discuss the following: sexual behavior, human sexual response, and sexual orientations. But before that, let's try to differentiate or define the key terms, which are the sex, the gender preference, and the gendered identity. So first, let us talk about sex. Sex is a part of what makes a person human. Being human, the prime function is procreation. However, sex goes far beyond the instinct to procreate. Sex is likewise about pleasure, enjoyment, excitement, and even ecstasy. Added to this earthly delight of the flesh, this is the thrill of physical touching and being touched by another warm body. The surging excitement towards sexual release. Second is the gender. It's either of the two sexes, the male and the female, especially when considered with reference to social and cultural differences rather than biological ones. The term is also used more broadly to denote a range of identities that do not correspond to established ideas of male and female. Third, the gender preference. Gender preference may refer to sex selection, the attempt to influence the sex of the offspring. And lastly, the gender identity. The gender identity is your deeply held inner feelings of whether you are female or male, both, or neither. Your gender identity isn't seen by others. So, let us go back to our main topic: sexual self. Why do sexual topics create discomfort when discussed in public? It's because it wasn't considered for the people to discuss about sexual matters in public. That's why Freud hypothesized that maybe deep inside we are motivated to seek either sexual pleasure or aggressive behavior. Because back then it wasn't accepted in the society for us to talk about things like this, especially in public, but we're doing it for scientific purposes. According to Filipino social psychology, since a lot of Filipino youth nowadays cannot talk to their parents about gender and sexuality. You can also seek out other resources of information about this topic because in this discussion, we own the aim of the very wide field. Now, we're going to discuss about historical perspective of human sexuality. In ancient Greece, they had a belief that man should be the dominant one in the society and the male symbol is a symbol of fertility. On the other hand, women were considered as mere objects to be possessed, just like a property. Women, unlike men, are not allowed to own properties and they had no legal rights, unlike today that we push for equality and some groups push for feminism. As of now, you will see how different the society now and compared to how the society viewed women back then. And now, we're going to discuss about biological perspective of human sexuality. So we have two kinds of sex characteristics, which are primary and secondary. When we say primary sex characteristics, this talks about the sex organs that are present at birth and directly involved with human reproduction. So you are born with your sex organ, so those are primary sex characteristics. On the other hand, when we say secondary sex characteristics, these are sexual organs or traits that develop at puberty and are indirectly involved in human reproduction. And secondary sex characteristics play a role in attraction as well from a biological evolutionary standpoint. So I'll show you here what are the changes in secondary sex characteristics for both males and females. First, for males, what happens is that their voice become lower and there's hair growth on chest, face, underarms, and in the pubic area, and there's an increase in muscle mass. And for the female, the breast enlarge, there's hair growth in the underarms and in the pubic area and hip wideness. And for both gender, skin more oily and more pores enlarged. Since we're done about biological perspective, let us move on to psychological perspective of human sexuality. Okay, when we say gender, as what I have mentioned earlier, it is different to sex because when we say sex, that talks about either male or female. But when we say gender, it may include preference, it may include the LGBT, but when we say gender, it may include who do you want to be. We are now considering your choice, your preference, and what are the things that influence human sexuality, particularly gender. So first, we have here what we call gender rules. So there are cultural expectations that if you are a male, you should be the provider, while if you're a female, you are the one who nurtured the family. So what do you prefer? Do you want to be the provider or the one who nurtures the family? Other than that, as a kid, we experience gender typing. When we say gender typing, as we grow older, we learn from the society about different expectations for the two genders. So let's move on to a related topic, which is love and attraction. And in this part of the lecture, let me talk about the different stages or types of love that a person may display. And let me begin that by talking about this theory by Helen Fisher and colleagues back in 1998. And according to them, there are three phases of romantic love, and these are the lust phase, attraction, and affection. So according to them, love begins with an intense craving for sexual contact, which is biologically natural for human being, but eventually they learn that their attraction is not limited to sexual contact. The first phase of falling in love is the lust or the desire phase. Lust is the craving for sexual satisfaction, which is a feeling that evolves in humans to motivate union with a single partner. During this phase, men and women both release healthy amounts of testosterone and estrogen. In females, estrogen play a role in vaginal health, longing for physical closeness with a mate, and the desire for sex.
In both male and females, testosterone drives sexual desire, openness, and seductiveness. Regardless of gender, when these hormones are present at health levels, the reproductive system is regulated, energy levels increase, and sex drive is heightened. Pheromones, which are odorless chemicals produced by humans and detected by the nose of other humans, also play a role in the lust phase because they help to initiate the initial desire. During this phase, the primary objective is to have sex rather than form of emotional connection. Second is attraction phase. Scientists have found evidence that adrenaline, dopamine, and serotonin are involved in the attraction phase. Adrenaline is a hormone that is released during the human stress response and also plays a role in enhancing attraction and arousal of humans. This hormone causes the heart to beat faster and stronger, results in a surge of energy and focuses attention solely onto your potential mate. It can also heighten feelings of anxiety or nervousness and butterflies in the stomach. Dopamine is a hormone that plays a role in motivation, addiction, attention, and desire. Once released, this chemical messenger produces a feeling of happiness and bliss. Dopamine is also released in response to cocaine and sugar, which are both incredibly addictive. During the lust phase, dopamine levels increase, which may essentially lead to an addiction to the person that is desired. High levels of dopamine are also associated with norepinephrine, which is another chemical messenger that increases excitement and focus on another individual. Serotonin is a hormone which acts as a neurotransmitter and plays a role in maintaining mood balance, appetite, sleep, memory, sexual desire, and sexual function. During the attraction phase, serotonin levels decrease, which can result in sleeplessness. Low levels of serotonin have also been linked to individuals with obsessive compulsive disorder and may also be the reason why individuals in the attraction phase of love obsessively thinks about their potential partner. Even though this hormone decreases during the attraction phase, sex actually causes serotonin levels to increase again. During this attraction phase, one may experience a feeling of euphoria or exhilaration and a craving for union with the other human that they desire. Since hormones associated with the stress response are released during the attraction phase, individuals also may experience psychological And the last changes is such as attachment. sleeplessness, Once the
increased
attraction
energy,
phase
loss
has
of
settled down,
appetite, or rapid
dopamine,
heart rate,
serotonin, and
accelerated
adrenaline
breathing.
levels return to normal and another phase begins. The two major hormones involved in the attachment or long-term bonding phase are oxytocin and vasopressin, which both play a role in social and reproductive behaviors in humans. Oxytocin, also referred to as the love hormone, is released during the attachment phase in correlation with physical touch and results in an increase in dopamine, the happy hormone. This is perhaps why the area of the brain which is associated with a feeling of reward and pleasure is activated when oxytocin is released during contact with another human. Gestures such as hugging, kissing, cuddling, and sex can boost oxytocin levels, which enhances the monogamous bond between both partners. Oxytocin is also released in mothers while breastfeeding their infant, which facilitates a deep mother-infant bond. Vasopressin is another hormone released after physical touch that initiates the desire to stay with that particular individual and develops a strong emotional attachment. And that's all. Thank you for watching.